And welcome back, everyone. So about a week ago now, me and my girlfriend finished the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's era of Doctor Who. So, as I've done recently with other ones, and forgive this ad. This ad keeps showing the F up. I'm trying to get rid of this thing here. Go away. Don't see this ad anymore. I know there's a little thing that's going to say, don't show me this ad anymore in just a second here. Will you go away? Okay, no. It'll come back again. I'm just going to have to deal with it, which sucks, but whatever. No, I don't have an ad blocker, so moving on. Anyway, so we finished Jodie's era of Doctor Who about a week ago. And just as I did with the both 11 and 12s, which I would have done for 10s too, had I found this site at some point. Stop seeing this ad. Yes, go away. Stop seeing this ad. Stop seeing this ad. Ad was inappropriate. Oh, well, I don't give a shit. Just go away, ad. Maybe it'll make it go away for a short time. I don't remember the last time I did this, the ads being this bad. But regardless, okay. So anyway, finished 13's era, finished Jodie's era, so now we are here. And I'll shrink this down a little bit so we can get a better look. So now we're here and we are discussing the ranking, the tier ranking of the 13th Doctor's era. Now, the 13th Doctor's era, I have heard that is notoriously not the best era of Doctor Who. But was it really all that bad? Let me see if I can shrink this screen down a little bit just to make it a little easier. Was it really all that bad? Yeah, that's, oh, you know what? That's a little bit better. Even though it'll still show up, I can deal with that. And I can say this, I don't think Jodie's era was as bad as some people make it out to be. It's certainly not the bullshit argument, oh, it's all woke. No, anyone who's saying that is just stop it. Just go home. Go home and touch some grass or something. Go home and just find real shit to deal with whenever you're using the woke argument. That said, watching the 13th Doctor era, as much as I hate anyone who's now using woke to complain about something, or I never even liked the term woke to begin with, to be honest. Oh yeah, you're not just understanding all the shit that we were supposed to be doing to begin with. Even watching this, even though I don't see things as woke or anything like that, and I don't use woke to talk about things I dislike or whatever, especially when it's something that it should happen, like a female doctor should happen, because just the way that the nature of the show has designed it. Even watching it, me and my girlfriend both went, okay, woke doesn't work here in terms of it does not work here in terms of what they're trying to accomplish. But heavy-handed is the term that can, because there are episodes in this season that get really heavy-handed. So let's just start things off. The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Honestly, while it's probably the weakest season opener or series opener we've had, I would put it as okay Who. It's certainly not god-awful. I had enough enjoyment with it to, allow it to, to enjoy what was going on. It would take a while, though, for Jodie, I think, to really find her stride and kind of who her Doctor is, because that is the writing is the biggest problem with the series, obviously. But beyond that, the characterization of this Doctor really is problematic in terms of, I have no idea who this Doctor is. Like, I don't get this Doctor. Like, we'll discuss it more as we go into these, but this Doctor just doesn't have Doctor traits. She just doesn't. She doesn't have the confidence the Doctor has, and the few times she does have it, it seems really forced. She's not the smartest person in the room. Half the time she doesn't even realize what's going on. And also, particularly in one episode, Can You Hear Me? I believe it's Can You Hear Me Now? That one, we'll talk about that notorious Graham, trying to talk to her about the cancer thing. We'll get to that. As it stands, though, this is a perfectly okay season opener. I will admit the teeth predator guy, the guy who was essentially the predator, but then his trophies were inserting the teeth of his victims into his face. In concept, that's a really cool idea, especially if you actually treat them like the predator, like Yautja, and they aren't just hunting humanoid species, they're hunting species like monsters and humanoids alike. Because then you wouldn't have this stupid-looking blue guy with human, I want to say they're incisors implanted. See, you could have You could have people of his race that literally like arrange these things in certain patterns. This one guy who fought a lot of canine creatures or creatures with giant fangs, they could be like ceremonially put onto his face. Another guy who fought like shark-like creatures, and he actually would have him put on his lips to have like a shark mouth. There could be cool ideas there. A blue guy who's frankly cooler looking in his suit than he is out of it would just incisors inserted into his face. That's just stupid. Then we got the Ghost Monument. Now the Ghost Monument I find a weird one because I like it more than I like it more than the season opener. I heard a lot of people don't like this episode, but I kind of dig this episode a little bit. I like the fact that it's mostly taking place on a different planet. The Doctor is without her TARDIS, so they got to kind of move by their wits. There's the question of what happened on this planet. But this also started the trend of me really not liking Ryan for a long while. Because because obviously him and Graham are dealing with the death of his grandmother, his Nan, or his Nan, as I believe they put it. And, Graham just trying to bond with Ryan, and Ryan always just blowing him up. Hey, hey, son. And it's like, no, okay, whatever. It took a real long time to warm up to Ryan, especially when he's not the most, I wouldn't say he's like hateable or anything like that, but he's not in terms of a person the most likable. He's kind of causing more problems than helping. That, I can't remember what he has, but he has like a balance disorder for whatever, that for whatever reason just exists. The whole him going out and shooting people, shooting the robots was kind of funny, and then them getting up was even funnier. But it does raise the issue also that the characterization of the Doctor, it seems like Chibnall just notes that the Doctor doesn't like guns. The Doctor doesn't want to kill things if they have to. And they just keep doubling down on that. So I like the Ghost Monument more than the opener. And the idea that the Ghost Monument is the TARDIS is kind of a nice little plot twist. I also did like the design inside of the TARDIS. I like this almost primordial crystal-like design. I kind of like that. Ooh, okay. Rosa. This is where the heavy-handed thing came in. And they've tackled historical events. Hell, there's literally an episode where they go kill Hitler. The problem is, let's kill Hitler. They've gone to World War II. But the problem here, and I'm frankly going to have to put this either at the top of or bottom of Not My Thing Who or near the very top of Bad Who. I'm going to have to go with Bad Who. The problem with Rosa for me is that with other things that are dealing with the events in history, like Let's Kill Hitler, that was done as a joke. That's not the main crux of the episode. But here, they aren't just there where a historical event is taking place. They are a part of it. They have to be a part of it. And the bad guy is just a racist? What? This douchey white guy racist? That's our bad guy? Like, there's a moment that Jodie has in front of him where I like Jodie's Doctor in terms where she actually has the aura of the Doctor briefly. It's like, you can't do that. No, you can't hit me. No, there's something preventing you from doing that. Like, that felt very much like Tenet. Like, kind of like getting in her face. Like, that was her channeling a bit of Lieutenant there, which I liked. But otherwise, I'm like, the accents also weren't the best. But yeah, it was rough. That was a rough episode. Then we have Arachnids in the UK. Yeah, no, this would be Bad Who again. Now, I will say though, and where'd you go? Arachnids in the UK. There you go. I probably would put it above Rosa. But again, this is where we're talking about like the heavy-handed. We're also Jodie's era also, I think, was the most topical era. And that, I'd have to maybe rewatch 9s through 12s eras again. But in terms of modern day events affecting the storytelling of Doctor Who, from when we get to Praxis, dealing with the microplastics, Kerblam, Amazon, they even mentioned Donald Trump in Erect is in UK. Don't compare me to that, man. No. And so many other things in this. Topical is not something Doctor Who, at least when the writer is not the best at it, should be handling. It is a little bit more entertaining, I will admit, because of the spiders, because than Rosa. And while he is a horrible character, a hateable character, he's a character you really are supposed to hate. But the fact that he never gets a real comeuppance really sucks. So after that, we got the Saranga incident. This one falls at the bottom of okay, I think. At least below the other two. This just comes down to the fact that at least they're in space. At least you get this little Stitch monster that's eating the pod. I do like that. But then you're supposed to like get this important death that you feel nothing for this cat, like fighter or this pilot. You have a guy, like I like the idea of a species where men can get pregnant too. But that was just handled really, really weird. That was just handled really, really weird. So at best I'll put that at okay. Then the Demons of the Punjab, I think is probably because it's probably in the okay range, but I might put it between the Ghost Monument and the Premiere. So the fact that the aliens didn't really make any sense in this. Like they're just I didn't care about the aliens at all. And then it gets really, really dark. And again, a real moment in history that's being addressed here. And frankly, Miss Marvel handled it way better, if I'm going to be honest. Which admittedly came after this, but still, Miss Marvel handled it way better, I think. But at the same time, it's still good. I do like the Doctor's speech about love and all that. It is rough on Yaz to see what happened to her ancestors, sure. But overall, it wasn't god-awful. Kerblam is not good. It's just not good. It's not a good episode. You know, and you know what? The reason I put it in bad is simply this. This started a literal freaking counter this season for me and my girlfriend of how many times the TARDIS got invaded by people who shouldn't be able to invade it. Are you freaking kidding? I think we ran the total roughly of like 5 different times that people who should not have been able to get into the TARDIS got into the goddamn TARDIS. The Judoon later get into the goddamn TARDIS. How the hell does that work? Like that? No. And then you got freaking Orphan 55. Oh, we'll get to that piece of shit. We got Judoon. That there's at least I think 4 or 5 times, and those I just named 3 off the top of my head, that individuals who should not be able to get into the TARDIS got into the goddamn TARDIS. I forgive Spyfall because those things were like extra dimensional things that were trying to get into the TARDIS and almost did, but she was able to fight it off. And I forgive Can You Hear Us because those were kind of like god level beings on like Toymaker level. So it would make sense that they can bypass the TARDIS, honestly. Otherwise, like, how many times did this freaking happen? Sorry. Oh, man, I need a moment. I need a moment. Needless to say, that alone puts it on Bad Who for me. Well, maybe not bad. That alone would have put it on not my thing. But then the sheer level of the... Oh, my God. Like, working in... The Doctor and the gang working in a service... Oh, God. Just... Oh... Yeah, no, no. Then we got Witchfinder. Okay, Witchfinder. This is Witchfinder. Yeah, this is the first one I will legitimately put as a good Who episode because it actually starts to tackle some of the things we've been kind of just wondering the whole time about. Think words here about like Jodie being the female Doctor. What kind of interactions would that bring? My screen is just completely paused, but my volume's working. There we go. But yeah, about Joe kind of like issues that would bring up of being a woman, especially in that time, especially in certain time periods What kind of issues would that bring up? I like the fact that we saw Alan Cumming playing the Witchfinder General. That was pretty like that. Well, no, she wasn't the Witchfinder General. Sorry, Jodie was the Witchfinder General. I did like that. That was actually pretty fun. And Alan Cumming is great in the episode. He really is. I really had a good time with him. I actually also like the fact that the whole idea of the witches, it's more like a weird sentient mud thing, which in that time period, there'd be a lot of boggy stuff, muddy areas. I like that. I do like the interaction. I like the fact that Alan Cummings is basically flirting with Ryan. So I actually had a really good time with this episode. I actually think this is a legit good Who episode. It takes you away. Oof, okay. So we all know the notorious frog she talks to at the end. But take the weirdness of that out. Do I actually think this is a decent episode? Yeah, I'd say it's a decent episode. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it's a good episode. I'd say it's a solid episode, an okay episode. I'd probably put it above the Ghost Monument, honestly, because it is dealing with a lot of the ideas of pain, loss. If you could go see your loved ones again, no matter what the circumstances, would you do it? What would be the costs of that? And the idea that this whole universe is actually a sentient being that just wants to connect with our universe is a great idea. And the fact that a doctor's willing to sacrifice herself and be this thing's just long-term friend, just so everyone else would be safe. I think that's great. I think that's a decent enough plot point. It was so not. It just wasn't handled well. The battle on Rancor of something or other. I can't remember the full name of it. I'm going to put that as not my thing. Especially because I don't think that this is where the bad writing for Jodie's comes in, because she's talking about we're not going to kill them. We're not going to kill them. Okay, so you're not going to kill him. You're just going to leave him in you're basically going to pull a Ted. You're going to leave them in a perpetual state where they wish they were dead. Is that what you're doing? Because that was a 10th Doctor move, what you just did there. That's not whatever this Doctor so far was seeing. She's very quirky, but she's very awkward. Very awkward. Really awkward. It just, no. Then we got, I believe this is Revolution of the Daleks, or just Revolution. This was the New Year's Eve special with the Return of the Dalek. I actually thought this was pretty okay. Especially when the Dalek basically kind of like DIYs a Dalek, Dalek, exosuit. Or, yeah, I did kind of like that. I don't know if I'd put it as better than, it takes you away, but I like it. I like it. Fair enough. Then Spyfall, and with these two parts, I always put it as a part 1, part 2. I'll always combine them together. Spyfall, no. Spyfall's not god awful, but it is no. I think I'd put it above the Battle of Raskor though, because yeah, I think I would put it above it. The Master, I've been spoiled by a lot of later Who down the road, particularly the Master reveal, so I knew that was the Master. Man, I didn't realize, and I was wondering, do people really hate this version of the Master? Why do they hate the version of the Master much? And then I watched it, I'm like, oh, that's why. The whole making her, get on her knees and be submissive to him, like, oh my God. Like, be honest with us, Chibnall. Just be straight with us. You would not have done that if the Doctor was male. You wouldn't have done that. Let's just be honest. Let's be upfront about that. The fact, and it's honestly like he's playing the Joker more than he's playing the Master. And if someone were to say like the Joker, I could get behind this version of the Joker, but as the Master, nah, I wasn't feeling it. Except in the scenes where he actually is getting emotional and being serious with the Doctor, where he's talking about Gallifrey when they're in basically World War II, and he's talking. I did like those moments with him, and when he tells her to go home, and he's got that, and he's that recording of him. I also did like it when he comes back. And usually, it has been an extremely long 80 years. You have no idea how many times. Like, I did like just that, like, oh my God, kind of expression he had. Orphan 55 sucks. It is god awful. yeah, no, I for the longest time I had heard Over 55 was terrible. I'm like wondering, why is it terrible? Then I watched it, and once again, heavy-handed much? Oh yeah, the whole talking to the audience out there, it's gonna doomed unless we protect the saving the planet thing. Oh man, and then hardly any of the characters are likable enough to worth saving. Ryan's still not the most likable person in the world yet, and we're what, over a dozen episodes in at this point? Like, thank God Graham and Yaz are actually pretty good, decent companions, all things considered. Because, man, Ryan brings that crew down for a long time. The creature effects were good. Those were some great makeup and costumes. And the idea of a future Earth being a, like, tourist, destroyed and turned into a tourist attraction is great. It's just, it's not handled well at all. At all. But you know what I think is? No joke. I might put Nikola Tesla. It's either the top of my Good Who episode, or it'd be my. I wouldn't say. I don't think I can go so far as to call it peak. I don't think I can go so far as to call it peak. But honestly, when I saw it at that point, it was my favorite episode of the Jodie era. Jodie actually felt like the Doctor because she was getting to meet Nikola Tesla, one of the best minds of our that Earth ever produced. And they were just bouncing creativity off of each other. And I'm watching, it's like, this feels like the Doctor. This just doesn't feel like someone who thinks she's the Doctor. No, this feels like the Doctor. I'll be honest, the only thing that maybe keeps it from Piku is the bad guys really aren't the best. They're just these, they're like the spider people, except nowhere near as good. The Fugitive of the Judoon also, frankly, is a solid episode, I think. I put it at the bottom of good. It is fun to see don't get me wrong, it's fun to see the Judoon again. It is. They are fun, just like dumb cop foils. But then knowing that the Fugitive Doctor, the mystery of what happened with the 13th, obviously she's not the true 13th Doctor. We have no idea how many regenerations there really were. I can't remember, Ruth something? Is that the actress's name? She's fantastic. I loved her. And I'm like a lot of people, I would have loved to have seen more with her. But as it stands, we're probably not. I mean, I know for a fact we see like a brief cameo of her in Shooty's era, near the end in the Story in the Machine, sort of Story in the Engine, but no. But still, no, I think that's a legit good episode. Like I said, I didn't hate the series as much as others, but Proxius, not my thing. I think that's fair enough. The whole, again, heavy-handed microplastics. Microplastics. Would you say something about microplastics? No, I'm not exactly sure why it turns people into, like, teeth shells, but whatever. I think it's calcifying. I think that's why. But, yeah. Legit, it's it's just not that good. Again, this message is heavy-handed. The plot really isn't adding up at all, I think. And then again, you also get people just being shitbags with the one person testing the virus, and then like, oh no, my crew died, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, we don't care. I don't care. And then we have, if I remember correctly, it was either this episode. Oh crap! What happened? What happened? Okay. Nope, that wasn't. That's the Legend of the Sea Devils. I need that down here. There we go. What happened? All right, I wanted that one. Then we have, Can You Hear Us Now? Or was it? I think it's like, Can You Hear Me Now? So, this is actually a really good episode, I think. You got these one deity who is essentially like a nightmare. They're like dream nightmare deities. And he's ultimately tricking the Doctor and the gang to release his sister so they can wreak havoc, only for them to kind of turn the tables back on him. I think the only thing that maybe keeps it from being peak is what's the best way to put it? The weird, the Doctor kind of being her own is a little odd in this episode. It is. And then, of course, there's that infamous, I'm worried about the cancer, you more clever with people, more confident, so I'm going to turn around, work on these, and pretend I said something. Like, that's not I'm sorry, the Doctor being socially awkward, The Doctor's socially awkward in more of a socialization sense, not with an empathy sense. This is not how the Doctor would act towards her friend at all. So yeah, it's good Who though. It is good Who, I think. I think I'd put it above Witchfinder, but below Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. Then we got Haunting at the Villa. I can't remember pronouncing it, but basically the Mary Shelley episode introducing the lone Cyberman. And honestly, if this episode and maybe like the Ascension of Cyberman were the only two episodes about the lone Cyberman, the lone Cyberman would be far more terrifying. As it stands, he's terrifying in these two episodes. And he's a great short villain. Honestly, this is just another really good episode, I think. They actually work with like the weird science behind it, like the weird time displacements, the Cyberium, the Doctor versus the lone Cyberman, trying to connect to the lone Cyberman, only to find out he's got nothing in him. And then the whole idea is like, well, what, you said ghosts don't exist. Well, unless they do. Like, I like that. You know, but the Doctor giving up the Cyberium, but that's the thing. Yeah, there's a point to that. Is it peak? I mean, it comes close. Do I put it above Nikola? You know what? I put it above Nikola Tesla because the villain's better too. So, come on. All right, we'll do it this way then. There we go. Nikola Tesla. I'll put it above. I just don't think, if I'm being honest here right up front, I do not think any true episode in Jodie's era is a peak episode. But give me 1 second here. Ascension of the Cyberman is, and then the Real Gallifrey. It's fine. It's fine. We are starting to get a bit more of our stride, I think. But I don't think I'll put above Ghost Monument, but below Revolution. It's fine. Okay, The Timeless Children, or The Timeless Child. There are some ideas I like. People have kind of made the connection to like colonialism and all that, but take that out of the equation. There's like the Doctor or the Cybermen are reactivating, are basically taking the corpses of the Time Lords and creating Cybermen out of them that can regenerate. That's a horrifying idea. The Doctor and the Masters, this Doctor and Master just don't work with each other. This Master just doesn't work. Like, either way, I've won. No, I haven't. And then one is like, I'm going to take that out of the Doctor. Like, this is one of the things. People saying the Master won. The Master's not supposed to win. Did the Master actually win? She didn't do it and someone else blew him up. So, yeah, I don't know if you can say that he actually won this. That Master has never actually won. So people said the Master's not supposed to win. The Master won. I've watched now watching this entire series, 13 series. The Master never won. He ultimately did lose in the end. Like, is it to say that he won over the Doctor morally? Because she still didn't do it. Either way, this is a bad episode. This is not good. Would I put it at the very bottom? It's better than North 55. I would probably rewatch it over Rosa and Spiders in the UK. You know, it is probably top of the bad, surprisingly. And it did give us lore we didn't need, but it did open up ideas. And then we have Eve of no, was that Eve of the Dalek? No, Eve of the Dalek is the other one. Hold on. What was this one? There's Revolution, which is Revolution of the Dalek, I believe. And then there was this next one, which brings us back Captain Jack, who had a cameo in one of the earlier episodes, which was so useless of a cameo. Revolution of the Dalek. Yeah, it is Revolution of the Dalek. So what was the other one? Was it just It was just Resolution. Sorry, I said Revolution the first time. It's Resolution. Look, Jack appearing, he's a Who companion. He is. And he's a character introduced on Doctor Who. So it would make sense for him to appear. And him interacting with, say, Jodie's Doctor would make for an interesting dynamic. Nothing really comes a lot for that, but his whole, it's like, hey, Silver Fox, like, like, yeah, I did like that. And then he actually does have this really good chat with Yaz about the Doctor and what a companion's leaving the Doctor. And you know what? I'm like, damn it, that's actually good. Probably should still get the freaking Donald Trump stand-in, whose name I forget right off the top of my head. Nor do I care to remember him. And again, nothing really comes from that. But I would say this is bottom of good, I think. I had a good time with this. And then we get into the Flux. Oh, God, the Halloween apocalypse. There's just so much bullshit setup happening. And then the goddamn dog alien. Oh, my God. Okay, it's a great practical makeup. It is. But why'd you make him look like a goddamn terrier of all things? Of all the dogs you could have designed him after, he's like Chewbacca the Terrier. It's not like god awful. There's a lot of setup. You get the new companion, who's I'm forgetting his name as well, because it was if I remember correctly, this was when Graham and Ryan left right after Revolution of the Daleks, and at that point Ryan had improved, but I'll say it's not my thing. Then you got, oh God, the War of Centauran. Again, the Centauran are just here. That's the problem. The Centauran are just here. They don't actually serve any real relevance to the plot, save for near the end. And even then, I don't know how much I can really say they serve a point. You could have done this with just about anyone else. I will once again say this is not my thing. I would definitely put it, though, above, say... yeah, I'd put it at the top of not my thing, but not my thing. Upon a Time, or Once Upon a Time. Again, it's like they keep just bringing in lore that they're not overly explaining well. And by the time we do get the explanations, they're not good explanations. Yeah, it's probably near the bottom. Like, again, probably still more enjoyable than these. So I'd put it like both. Now, yeah, see, the Flux at least has interesting ideas going on. I'll give it that. So, I will at least put it above like in the upper half of not my thing. It's just the way they handled it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And 1 second, sorry, there was a bit of a delay. There we go. Yeah, absolutely terrible. Okay, Village of the Angels was actually a good episode. That actually had some horror fuel in it. I'd put it, ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, I'd put it above Can You Hear Me Now, but below Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. I'd put that there. Then Survivors of the Flux is kind of starting to try to culminate the Flux, but it's better than, say, not. I'd put it at the bottom of okay, because at least we're starting to get answers about like Tecteun and stuff. Now I'd even put it above the Serenga. And you know what? I'd put it above. It's not. Yeah, I'd put it right between the woman who fell to earth and the Serenga, the Demons of the Jump. And then you have the Vanquishers, which, again, we meet Tecteun, and then she's killed. And then, Doctor finally has all these memories of her lives back again. And what's the payoff? Oh, we finally figured out how to stop the Flux for what it's worth. And what's the goddamn payoff? Hide this from me. Never give it to me unless I really, really ask for it. F you! Oh my God! Don't set something up like this. What was the point of changing your backstory then? Like, what is the actual point? If the point of the Timeless Child is to understand how many lives the Doctor has actually had, then what? And she's not Gallifreyan, she's something else. Then why did you? Then why would you just get rid of it? Were you hoping to be setting up for other things down the road? Because I'm telling you right now, we're ignoring all of that, and probably for the best. If they ever address the Timeless Child stuff again, the writer better know what the hell they're doing. And they better get... Honestly, we've always fantasized, if we could be in Doctor Who, but if I was in Doctor Who, and I'm the Doctor or whatever, if I were cast for it, and I had some say on like the story input, I would want to retcon the Timeless Child, if I'm going to be honest. Like, legitimately retcon it. I want there to be some sort of time event. we would meet, like, I'd meet my actual people time event, blah 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 blah. And sorry, my dog is sorry. And we'd be, and I, the retcon of it, and I am once again back to being truly a Time Lord, Gallifrey. But yeah, no, it's at least a little better than the Orphan 55. I'm not going to argue that. Weirdly enough, it's still probably at the best. It's right below the Timeless Children, simply on the grounds that Timeless Children is a setup, and this is the payoff without any payoff. So there you go. Eve of the Daleks, actually a fun story. The idea of being stuck in time loops that get shorter and shorter, that was actually a good time. We had a good time with that. And the idea, and at first me and my girlfriend didn't like the main woman. But then it's like, okay, no. At the end, it all worked out in the end. We liked her and the guy. So I would put this, as a one-off, I'd put it pretty high. It's good Who. I'd put it above Witchfinders. Yeah, no, actually, honestly, I'd probably even put it above Village of the Angels. Because the problem with Village of the Angels is it's still dealing with the Flux stuff. So not so much. Legend of the Sea Devils. Again, they brought the Sea Devils back. It was a good time. A Flying Dutchman. Me and my girlfriend were just having a good time. I probably would put it below Village of Angels, but I like the fact that. Okay, I like the fact that they did address why the Doctor and Yaz wouldn't work. The fact that they brought this is the one thing that also hurts these things from being peak, is that only in the last 3 episodes of Jodie's era are you suddenly bringing up a romance between Yaz and the Doctor. Where the hell is this? At least with Rose, it was clearly set up. With Martha, she was clearly pining. River is legendary, but this is just thrown in there. If they had at least started maybe halfway through or some part into the Flux before the Flux was done, or further beyond, and showed hints of Yaz actually having feelings for the Doctor, and maybe the Doctor also having feelings for Yaz, because that's the thing. Look, I know for a fact Ncuti does have some same-sex sort of relationships. He flirts. He's got attractions to men as his character. I know that Doctor's Strange is a bit more of the queer Doctor, but just because he's fluid, it's case. Honestly, Ncuti's Doctor I know is kind of the Jack Harkness of it of the Doctors. It's like everyone's on the menu, but I'm totally down for either a male Doctor having a male romantic relationship or a female Doctor having a female romantic relationship. I'm totally fine for that, but you need to set this stuff up, and it needs to have better payoff than what was actually shown. Because I do like the fact that Jodie's Doctor's like, no, we can't be together. It's not you, it's me and all that. But if I were to want to be with someone, I definitely would want to be with you. It's clear the Doctor did have more than just friendship feelings for it. It's just Jodie's Doctor just isn't well written, which leads us to the Power of the Doctor, which I will put as top tier of OK Who for this list at least. And the reason for that really just comes down to the plot is actually ridiculous. He brings back the lone Cyberman. He's bringing back Cybermen again and Daleks, if I remember correctly. They're just doing this he's working with them. He regenerates. I know force regeneration is a thing. We've seen that in the second Doctor's era, but he regenerates into her. She regenerates into him. Wait, what? And oh god, okay. There's a problem with the writing where I'm making jokes, and those jokes turn into reality because I see him disguised as Rasputin. And I lean over my girlfriend and go, rah, rah, Rasputin versus greatest love machine. Da, 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 da. Click. I'm like, no. And we just go, no. And he's gyrating, Russia's greatest. And even the Cybermen and the Dalek have to look at each other and go, what the shit is going on? There's a problem with your writing when a joke that's that stupid actually makes it into the end of the thing. Now, granted, the master is wacky. I get that, but man, this master is not intimidating, really. I mean, there's times where he can be a little intimidating. He can be, but just not to the point the master is supposed to be. That said, however, I do like Jodie's regeneration sequence. I think seeing our past companions, Ace was I like her say, "My name's Ace." Yes, it is. Yes, you are. like, oh my god, am I in love again? Like, and then the doctor actually reaching like the precipice of regeneration, and she meets the former doctors who were able to come back or wanted to come back. I believe it was 1, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, who are all there. That and then actually being able to see 5 and 7 actually still talk to their former companions again. That was actually really nice. So I'll put it at the peak of okay who for me. But that, my friends, is the tier ranking for the entirety of 13th Doctor's run. The remaining Doctor ranking lists will be a lot shorter, as 14 only had 3 specials and Ncuti only has 20. So 20 episodes total. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. What would you think of the ranking here? Would you do? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.